I'm grateful for back alive from Georgia.
Listen, everybody, my driving was spot on. I'm a little bit from New York, and your driving and my driving are very similar. So, good
Indeed.
morning. Good morning to everybody. My name is Coach Brock Zevan, life coach, business coach, real estate coach, and a DAD. And today it's real estate coaching time. It is real estate coaching time. So good morning to you all. Good morning. Good morning. Put where you're calling us from in the chat. Tell us where you're calling. Tony, you do not. You keep your hands at 10 and 2. I know where you are here in the Charlotte, South Charlotte area. Suzanne. Suzanne's from Charlotte as well. Who else do we have here from Charlotte? Charlotte. Mark from Charlotte as well. That's good because I'm getting ready to share with you guys what I'm doing in buyers. And Paul and I were in Atlanta, and we shared a little bit about this, Paul. So I'll be leaning into you, kind of what you heard from me yesterday and what we talked about during break in reference to it. But um, and I say this nicely and not in an arrogant way, like I'm not the biggest, like I like buyers, but I don't like buyers. But I'm building a huge buyer pipeline right now to be able to share my leads with buyers because I'm primarily a listing agent. And so we're working some things out on the buyer side. And I want today to be a lot about Kimberly. Kimberly's in Cornelius. Oh, I know Kimberly. I didn't see her last name. Um, but I'm going to put together, I want this to be a Q&A. Ask me some questions on what you would like to. I'm going to share with you some artificial intelligence. I'm going to share with you some links. I'm going to share with you where you can get your content. I'm going to share with you what to post. Was at two events, one in Charlotte this past Tuesday, and then I was in one on Wednesday in Atlanta using Instagram, using these polls, uh, applying them to create lead generating opportunities. Because how many of you put a five in the chat if you be okay if you picked up a couple buyers before the year ends? Put a five in the chat if you be okay if you picked up a couple buyers before the year ends. Why I'm starting to like buyers is because guess what? They like the rates and they're willing, if they're if done correctly, they'll put an offer in today. All if you do your due diligence, you make sure that they got everything that they need, they could make an offer today. Why I like them better than listings right now, even though I am building my 20 listings by December 1st, okay, 17 more. The thing is that listings take a little bit longer, meaning I could get a listing today. I can go on the appointment today, and the chances of me actually getting it listed today are not as strong or as high as if a buyer came to me today and I get them pre-approved through one of my lenders. There's a very good chance that they could purchase something really today. Listing a home in one day is very, very hard. I don't recommend it. In all honesty, it should take you 7 days to list a home if you've done correctly. Okay. I'm a new agent. I just got my first buyer under contract. Love it, Suzanne. What a great testimonial right there. Congratulations to you on getting your first buyer under contract. Let me know if I can help you. Let me know if I can be a resource to help you make sure that there's inspections and all that other fun stuff they go through. If I can help you in any way, let me know. DM me, and I'd be more than happy to help you. So the key thing that I'm going to share with you is I want you to put a question you have for me. Okay. What is it I'm using? I'm going to share with you artificial intelligence. I'm going to give you my prompt that I used, but I want you to tell me, what do you think buyers are struggling with in today's real estate market? As well as what do you think real estate agents are struggling with buyers today? Okay. So come off of mute, put it in the chat on one of those two. Okay. What do you think buyers are struggling with, or what do you think listing or buyer agents are struggling with? Suzanne, you go first because I saw you come off of
Yep.
mute. What do you got for me?
I think the easy one is still rates. I know they just came down a little bit, but they're certainly not where they were, say, 4 or 5 years ago, which seems to be still in everybody's head.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm actually going to share with you today that the big farce that everybody thinks, society thinks that when the feds drop the rates, the market actually, that the interest rates go down. And that is not the case. I'm going to show with you exactly, and this is what I'm posting and sharing with people why they need to be in touch with me, is because everybody says the federal government lowered the rates. And if you actually look today, guess what happened? The rates went up. There's living proof right there. They actually went up after they made the announcement. And this is really something important that you need to control the narrative on the real estate side is when the feds drop, it really doesn't have anything to do with the mortgage rates. I'm going to share with you what does and why they need, like I'm constantly every week giving content to my buyers around the fence. And I'm showing that screen that I just shared with you. And I'm going to share with you the historic rates as well. These are text messages you need to send to people. This is what gets people off the fence is because they want to hear positive news, not what they think in society. So very good, Suzanne. Who else has something they would like to share with us? Nobody put it in the chat. Nobody, maybe everybody wants to just talk then. Raise your hand, come off of mute, tell me what it is. Credit utilization is at 95%. Oh, there's that credit repair girl. There she is right there, Rosario. But it's so true. Okay. What is happening, we're seeing too with the buyers, why you need to make sure you do your due diligence. I do not take people out. I do Zooms all the time. Write this down. Start doing Zoom buyer consultations. Do Zoom buyer consultations before you go out. If they can't do a Zoom buyer consultation, you need to have a meeting on the phone with the conference. Stop driving around, wasting your time, and not asking the hard questions. Because you're gonna be bent out of shape. You're gonna be upset because buyers are liars. How many of you have heard that? Put a 5 in the chat if you've heard buyers are liars. They come up with oh well, I went to Credit Karma and Credit Karma looked really good. My credit card gives me my credit score now. My credit card company gives me my okay, sure they do. They do, but it's not accurate. The lender can't say, well, do you have your own credit score? Yeah, just bring that over here. We'll get that taken care of. That's not going to happen. So you need to have these hard conversations. Every buyer consultation just did one in Granite Falls. Another important thing, what are you willing to drive out to? Where are you willing to drive? I'm now 70 miles. I'm willing to travel 70 miles. Okay. What is your price point that you're willing to travel the 70 miles to? What is your value? Don't ask Paul this because he doesn't deal with anything under 150,000. 150,000, just reach out to Paul. He's in the Zoom. Maybe he'll send you a referral. Okay. But he doesn't deal with the 150,000 on that. D was on him yesterday in the car while we were driving 17 hours to Atlanta. It felt like, but I loved everybody. But what are you willing to do? What is your price point? I always say this, am I willing to travel an hour to pick up a $10,000 check? If you are, then look in your area and expand your area. If you're like, I don't have time for that, that's not my value. I will only do for $1 million, whatever it is. I don't really care. Just know what it is. For me, $400,000 plus, I pretty much will travel an hour and a half away. Why? The market inventory. Yes or yes, the inventory is a little bit tighter. Yes or yes, the days on the market are a little bit longer. Yes or yes, there's not as many transactions as they were when Suzanne said 3 or 4 years ago. Right? It's a challenging market now to some extent, depending on where you are. So what are you willing to travel to? What are you willing to do? Now, the credit card utilization is very important because you want to have these Zoom buyer consultations and you want to make sure who are with you on the buyer consultations? Everybody that's involved in the decision-making process. Everybody, write that down. Everybody involved in the decision-making process. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, I can just meet with you. That's not a problem at all. My wife she gets out of work at 5, so we'll just, I'll just fill her in. No. You're not filling her in. I'm filling her in. Okay, you're just going to waste your time because you don't know all the ins and outs. She might have a totally different conversation. And So what you do is you just say, hey, I completely understand, but it's very important that both parties, both people, decision makers are there, because she might have some questions that you might not be able to answer. And I want to make sure that I answer all your questions, because is it fair to say, Tony, that this is probably one of the most largest purchases you'll ever be making? Well, wouldn't you want both people there to make this large purchase? Okay. That is how I get them into, how I corner them into that question to get them to be like, okay, fine. And so I will adjust my calendar to make sure that they're both there. So it just did that, did a Zoom. It worked out really well. They actually had some financial problems. So Rosario's question on utilization was very important, because they are purchasing a new home or they're doing new construction. They don't have a lot of money to put down. I said, well, write this down. Do you have any family that has a lot of equity? Do you have any family that's a lot of equity? See, their objection was they didn't have the money up front. A buyer agent, my goal is to get you more buyers. In order to get more buyers, I just had these conversations in Charlotte and Atlanta. Sharon used to say it all the time over at Real. In order to make sales, in order to convert, what do you need to have? Conversations. Exactly, Tony. You need to have conversations. You can't text. You got to have conversations. You got to engage with these people so you can figure out what it is and how to solve their problem. Write this down. Money exchanges hands when problems are solved. When you learn their problem, and the best way to do it is through a conversation, the conversation to me, to my two buyers, to my buyer. It actually was an expired, no, it was a for sale by owner. Okay. In Granite Falls, no, Cherryville. In Cherryville, they are getting ready, they want to sell their house. The house is 325,000. So I called them up. Well, Brock, you just said that you wouldn't do anything for 400. Yeah, until I called them and had a conversation with them, and guess what? They want to purchase, and their purchase is 375,000. So 375 plus 325. Okay, click, checks the boxes. I'm out. I'm going. But I'm not going until I have my buyer consultation. I had the buyer consultation. They're like, well, we just don't have as much money, because I was trying to figure out how to make this work. I said, tell me your problems so that way I can solve them. So that way we can move the needle, so we can go under contract into some capacity, buyer agency agreement or listing agreement. Are you staying with me? Put a 10 in the chat. This is making sense. Put a 10 in the chat. This makes sense. That way I just know everybody's along. Tony's not going to, because she is driving, but everybody else, put a 10 in the chat. Okay, we got some people. Mark, good. Rosario, Sherry. Okay, gotta make sure everybody's good. 10. Are you tracking with me? Are you tracking with me? That's what we just kept hearing. Are you tracking with me? All right. Suzanne, Sydney, Marina. Am I saying that right? Marina? Am I saying that right? Lisa's good. Suzanne's good. All right. So I had the conversation, and she says she doesn't have the funds. They're a little limited. Their equity is in their house. Their equity is in their house. Okay, they want to build a new construction property, and so there's some challenges with it. So the question I asked them, because now they're putting their buyer hat on, and I said, "Do you know anybody in your family that has equity?" What do you mean by that? Well, do you have a family member where you want to move to? Well, we're moving next to my parents. We're moving next to my parents. Ding, 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 ding. Do you see conversations equal me asking more questions? I said, great. Do you have your parents' address? How much do you owe on this lot that you have? Well, we don't know anything. Well, send me both your parents' address and this new address. They send it to me. The land is not valued enough that I can pull the money from that to get a refinance or an equity line on that. But guess who does? Tina, that was her name. Tina, have you ever talked to your mom and dad about pulling out the $400,000 that they have out of their wall without ruining their drywall? Have you ever thought about that? Asked them about that? What do you mean by that? Well, your parents have $400,000 in their wall because they don't owe any money on their house, and their property value is over $400,000. And we probably can get with one of my lenders to be able to have a conversation with them to be able to see if we can pull an equity line for you to have your down payment. Guess what all? Guess who's got a listing agreement and a buyer agency agreement now? Okay. You got to be able to solve people's problems. You got to be able to have conversations with them. That's why you do a buyer consult. Guess what? Guess what? Oh, have I driven yet to 1 hour away to Cherryville yet? I have not. But they already enjoy our conversations because I'm giving them, it begins with a V, value. I know what I'm talking about. Do you know what you're talking about? Ask yourself that. Excuse me. Do you know what you're talking about? How's your skill set? How's your skill set right now? Think about it. Oh, gosh, maybe I need. So I'm going to write this down. Study 30 minutes every day on the market. Study 30 minutes every day on the market. I'm going to give you a couple websites today. I'll give you one right now. Go into your chats. Everybody knows where their chats are because he told me where you're calling from. There's the first one right there. Okay. Mortgage rates. Know what the mortgage rates are. Understand them. Look at them daily. And put some data out there. The next one I'm going to share with you, another one that is really good is, why is that not doing that? Excuse me, newsbreak.com, newsbreak.com, newsbreak.com. And newsbreak.com is also area specific. So those of you that lived, let's see, where did people tell me some places that they lived? Let me go up. Greenville. Okay. Charlotte, Cornelia, but a lot of Charlotte people. Okay. So Charlotte, Lake Norman, Monroe, York County. It's specific based off of your area. So you can get the data. Rosario's from from Texas. Okay. You can get that. Sydney's over on the West Coast up in Oregon. All right. Any questions? Any questions at all so far? Okay, I'm going to get one more. Somebody else give me one more situation that is taking place that maybe buyers are nervous about or what they want from a real estate agent, or as a buyer agent, what are you struggling with? What are some of the challenges? Give me one more. I'm fine with awkward pauses. I'm really good with awkward pauses. Credit score. No, Rosario, we already heard from you. We already got your credit stuff down. Okay, we're moving on now. We got credit score. We know that. If you need any help, if your credit agent or your client does have credit score problems, you do need to talk to Rosario though. She's got me from a 570 to in the 700s now. So personally, thank you, Rosario, but she can help you out all. They can't settle on one house and give up. Thank you, Sydney. All right. This is actually I'm gonna dive in a little bit. This is very, very important. So I want you to lean into this. This is actually the number one. Sydney, you must have been listening to my other day's podcast. The number one thing that buyers want from a buyer's agent is they want us to find them the house. They truly want us to help them find the house. Okay. Now they can't settle on one house and they give up. Well, that in itself is, I guess if they said they can't settle on a house, it would be going back to the blueprint of understanding what is that is most important to them. What is a non-negotiable? I always ask this question. If this is not your buyer consult, this is what you need to be. What are your non-negotiables? What are your non-negotiables? Why do you think that's important, all? Why do you think that's an important question? So they can't settle on one house. If I know they're non-negotiables, should I be going to show them this house? Because it doesn't fit the boxes. Well, I just show it to them, Brock, because they said that they like some of these type of homes. If it hits their non-negotiable, why would you show it to them? Because there's no other homes, Brock, and I got to show them something because I don't want them to fire me because I'm not taking any homes. Okay. How many of you get that? I haven't. Buyers, there's nothing else out there, Brock. There's nothing else out there. I've looked the whole internet. I keep looking, and you don't send me anything, Brock. You send me the same house over and over again. All right. I completely understand that. Well, I can fix that. You can? You can fix, yes, I can fix that. We just have to change the location or we have to change your price point. Would you like to go back and talk to the lender again to see if we can adjust that? Maybe something's changed. Okay. Could they get it? Can in the last 6 months? I think Paul, you were dealing with somebody. You've been going back to the last 6 or 7 months, and you've been pulling out some people from the pipeline, right? Yes, on that. Okay, he's nodding his head. Yes, give me a thumbs up. Right? Is it possible that somebody could have gotten a job raise? Something could have happened to them financially that could implement their mortgage. Have the rates gone down? Let me show you this all. Let me show you this. This is something really important that you need to look at. This is in that link I just sent over to you. Okay. I'm going to put it here. Okay. These are questions you can ask. All right. You're going to come into here. You're going to click on historic rates. Everybody see me? Everybody not see me, but see this historic rates. Suzanne, you got it? Paul, you see it? Okay. Historic rates. Let's just look at the last 30 days. 6.59. Okay. All the way to at one point yesterday, 6.13. Does everybody see this? Is it fair to say, yes or yes, that your monthly payment could be different from a 6.59 to a 6.12? Could your monthly payment change? Right? If their monthly payment changes, excuse me, is it fair to say that maybe there's some adjustment? Could you purchase more property, more buying power if the interest rates are at 3% today, all? Right? So if the interest rates change and you know when you change, shouldn't you be telling buyers this? You need to send mass text messages. You can use mobile text alerts. You can use your lofty text alerts. You need to start telling people when the rates change and you need to ask them questions. Were you aware the rates went below 6.25? Okay. Were you aware that the rates went down 6.25? Were you aware the rates are the lowest they've been in 3 years? If Are you looking for this rate today to purchase, or would you rather me tell you when it's below 6? Ask them these questions. Buyers will engage with you. Do an Instagram post and put out there with the rate in the background. Would you buy at today's rate or still waiting for it to go below 6? Put in some polls. That was one of the greatest takeaways that I don't do enough of the polls. But it's a great way to be able to engage with people to get some conversations. Okay. We talked about it earlier. Conversations. Know what's going on in the data. Thanks, Tony. What do you think about recommending arms? Well, an arm only just depends on the individual. Right now, with the forecast being that the interest rates continue to go in a downward direction, I would be a little hesitant about it. What's a rate right now? What's a term? What's a vocabulary word that we could use right now in today's market? Let's do a pop quiz. Pop quiz. What is a term you can use right now to be able to share? It's along recommending arms of the arm. What is a term? What are we hearing? Buy down? No, we wouldn't use buy down right now. If I could, I'd play the Jeopardy song right now.
Low monthly payment. I mean, that was its primary purpose.
What's that? I'm sorry, Suzanne.
Low monthly payment.
Low monthly payment, but this is specific. That's what we're aiming for. But there's something that you can share with people that might make them interested for you them to say yes instead of an arm. Because an arm, the rates are going to continue to decline. And when the rates were going the other way, we used to call it what? Lock the rate, lock the rate. Would you like to lock the rate? If you haven't heard of this, I want you to study it. This is everybody's homework. Maybe we can float the rate. If we can float the rate, would that be interesting to you? Okay, what is a bobber? If you put a bobber on the water, it's floating, right? If the water goes down, what does the bobber do? It goes down. If the bobber and the water goes up, what does the bobber do? It goes up. I wouldn't say floating a rate 2 years ago, now would I? Because of where the market was. All indicating signs show what? Of every forecast. Google this. Google federal mortgage rate forecast. Federal mortgage rate forecast. And I can guarantee you 99% of all mortgage rate forecasts, Freddie Mac, Goldman Sachs, FHA, Zillow, Realtor.com, all of them are going to have stagnation, if not dropping. Majority of them are going to have it dropping over the last year to 2 years. I'm telling you, Q1 of 2026, be ready. You got to start now to be ready. And that's what I was telling Paul yesterday. So a floating rate is a conversation. Be like, I would talk to your local lender. If you don't have a local lender that's not operating at this level for you, you reach out to me and I'll get you Chris. Okay. You need to understand a floating rate is an opportunity compared to an arm. Now, if the arm allows you to float the rate over the next 30 days, next 60 days, then work with it. But you want to be able to allow them, the buyer, and give them confidence. Listen, the rate's at 6.22 today. There's a good chance it was at 6.13 yesterday. We could see the rate go down. So let's just float the rate. And I'm going to make sure my lender stays on top of this daily. Because if we find the rate for you and we can get you the home that you need during the time period we're looking right now, because is it fair to say the inventory is a little tight? You're not seeing what you want, but we want to make sure we can float the rate. Float the rate. I've never heard of that before. Well, I'm one of the top buyer specialists in the area, and my job is to make sure that I check the market, not only looking at homes, but also connect you with top top lenders in the area so we can get you the best rate. The question I ask buyers all the time, do you care where your money comes from as long as you have the lowest upfront cost, the lowest interest rate, and keep your monthly payment low? Do you really care where your money comes from? Hell no. They don't care at all. I don't care if it's like Uncle Bill that's behind the desk at the bank. Bill, if you can't get me the rate, I'm going over here. Somebody's got me a better rate. Don't have to pay as much money. And boy, oh boy, it sounds a lot better to me. And it's least amount of headaches. And they'll take my credit score. You're making me do all this other stuff. That's why the 30 minutes of studying and understanding. So this mortgage news daily, let me go back to this so I can show this to you. So everybody got floating rate? So here's the mortgage. This right here, I'm literally getting ready to do a Zoom on this. So you see how it's in my background and you see me over it? Yes or yes? You guys see that? Right? Just hit record and do the same thing, all. All right, put this in your background. Okay, you go to share screen. And then you put this in the image. If you have two monitors, it's a lot easier. And I'm going to have a conversation just like I'm having a conversation with you now. Buyers, I just want to let you know, I know you guys are all concerned about when the feds drop the rate, but I just want you to know the rates have been falling. And it's important that you get weekly updates on the market because when the feds drop the rate, it actually doesn't really have too much of an effect on mortgages. And here is a perfect example. Here's an article I pulled up. This is a video, all less than 2 minutes. And we can see that over here. I just flip my screen, change it up. I get my screen right. This is important information to make you sound educated in front of people. And what we've noticed is this. What really changes the rates are some other indicators that people aren't talking about. And that's that inflation number. As you look here, you're going to see the CPI index and the PPI. These are all indicators here based off of what takes place. Now, the jobs report is very important, and the 10-year yield. Now, what we do over here is we actually monitor it, because we know when you look at the market and you see his history, we can see that on the 5th of September, the job reports number came out. We also know that on the 16th, the PPI numbers came out, and that was a huge indicator. Now, that happens each month. If you are interested in making sure that you stay front of mind to get the best floating rate possible, which could get you the best lowest interest rate, would you be interested? And if you are, click the link below, DM me. Let's have a conversation. Yes? Something that you can do? Put a 5 in the chat. That made sense to you. Put a 5 in the chat. That was like, I think I could do that. I didn't even know about that. Could you sound a little smarter now talking to somebody? If a buyer reaches out to you, and you're in the grocery store and somebody says, "Hey man, whew, yeah, so exciting. The feds dropped the rate." Now, to be honest with you, let me just share with you a little bit about what happened about that. Oh, I didn't know. I thought when the federal government dropped the rate, all the rates go down. No, not necessarily. Let me explain to you a couple things. By the way, I, saw your kids on Facebook. Looks like they're having a great time. I don't know. But the point is, if you don't have a toolbox that's full of this type of knowledge, you can't share it at the grocery store on aisle 10. Because all you be saying is, yeah, the rates dropped yesterday. No, they didn't. They actually 2 days ago. Okay, so if you're not familiar with some of these indicator factors here, all right, I'm going to share with you this screen again, because this is what I use for artificial intelligence to help people. All right. So when you look at this, the consumer price index and the PPI, the job reports, okay, the bond activity, really what I did is I'm going to put this in the chat so you guys have exactly what it is that I put in my prompt so you can use it for yourself. How many would like that? Okay. What are the key indicator numbers and or reports that affect the mortgage rates? If you don't know these key indicators, then go back into artificial intelligence and say, could you please explain to a little bit more about the PPI? Can you explain to me more about the consumer price index? Because guess what the biggest question agents have from, well, Brock, what do I study every day? Okay, you can go to Zillow, look at news reports. Inside of this, I'll show you this. This is what I study. These are indicators. These are some things that you can go to. All right, I come into here and you can click on news. Mortgage rates higher, not lower after. I mean, they even give you, for crying out loud. Okay, what to expect from the feds today? Okay, housing news, popular news topics. Let's go to housing news. Okay, obvious signs of life of the mortgage apps thanks to the late rally. Mortgage applications jumped 9.2% last week, according to Mortgage Banker Association survey. Okay, this is going to be my next one I'm going to talk about. Here's, if you go and you look me up on Facebook, I called it the perfect storm. This is what I'm telling my buyers. I take this right here. I take this news article and I copy paste it. You can screenshot it. You're going to see my screen darken here in a little bit. And I take this screen, I copy paste it. I might just share them this, and I just text them that. And I would put in my text message, the perfect storm is brewing. Take a look. I don't get it. It was just a picture. I don't know what you mean. I do it on purpose so that way they can text me back. What does this mean? I don't know, Brock. Well, that means that buyers right now, we have about a 6-week window before what happens. Happens during a little big fat man with the big beard, wears a red hat, comes down your chimney. We all get around a table, give thanks. The holidays. We're going to be hearing it. We got a short window all to take advantage of this fourth quarter. That's why when Suzanne says she's got a buyer under contract, I'm fair to say that Suzanne, you're probably going to close on this deal before the holidays, right? You're going to have money in your bank account before Thanksgiving. I can only assume. This is important all because this is the perfect storm. This is the proof. Here's an article. You got the link. Here's a screenshot. You send it over to the buyers. You put it in a post. You can copy paste the link, put it in artificial intelligence, say, ChatGPT, could you please create an engaging, from a real estate buyer's perspective, a social media post that I can put out there? Could you put it in Facebook? Could you give me something in Instagram? Could you give me something in LinkedIn? Could you set it up for me? Put it out there all. Perfect storms brewing. Buyers, if you continue to wait, as you see here in this article, excuse me, the mortgage applications are going up, meaning the line to get into the store is increasing. Okay. What happens on Black Friday? They want to get a deal. They have all their money. They got their credit cards all ready to rock and roll. Even though Rosario says they're at 95% efficiency or utilization, they're still going to try it. Maybe there's a chance I can use the max. That's what people do. Right? But they're waiting in line to be able to get this. Okay. This is what's going to happen. All these buyers are going to start the mortgage applications. It's important to look at the mortgage applications. It's important to educate, control the narrative, share this with people, and say, hey, if you want to get ahead of it, if you want to be the agent that gets ahead, the buyer that gets ahead of the market, you're going to have to start getting your ducks in a row today. So when the perfect home comes out, you're ready to go. Because if you continue to wait and the rates continue to drop, more buyers are going to get their application, and we're going to have to fight against more buyers to be able to get your home, which means the due diligence can go up. The home prices might stay the same, but guess what? We're going to go to that ugly word, multiple offers. And how about you, Suzanne? You don't want to get in multiple offers because it's hard to win. Cash is still king. Is this making sense, all? We're going to go 7. Put a 7 in the chat. This is making sense. This is making sense. Put a 7 in the chat. All right. So we got some 7s here. Rosario, they're good. Rosario finally gave me a 7. Anybody got any questions for me? It's 10:40. I'm going to take the last 5 minutes. Who's got a question or a takeaway? Come off of mute. Put it in a chat here.
This is my first session with you, so this has been very informative. Just curious, how are you primarily getting your buyer customers, clients?
Great question. At first, I thought you were going to say this was your first time. I thought it was very inappropriate. So I was like, really? No. So thank you for that.
Really? No.
So where I get my leads. So I get my leads through Grizzly Leads. Jay, could you put these in the chat for me, please? Grizzly Leads. We have we're sponsored through some of them. Grizzly Leads, Home Light, iSpeed to Lead, Arch Agent. Now, Arch Agent are more listings, but most of the time when the seller wants to sell, what do they also want to do? So that's where I get
They
my
wanna buy.
buyers on that side in reference to that. And then you can also check out like different Facebook groups. Now, not only is Rosario the magician of helping people with their credit scores, that is her main gig. She helps a lot of people with that, but she's also brilliant in Facebook groups. So she goes into Facebook groups and like, relocating to Charlotte, relocating to North Carolina, um, first time home buyers. Like there's so many different real estate groups of people that put stuff in Facebook groups. Go look into those and start engaging with them. Okay. So, Rosario, could you put your information in the chat, please? So things like that, that's where I get most of my buyers. I have been working a buyer pool through Grizzly Leads. We do spend about $400, $500 a month in them. To be able to start building we've been doing it for about a year as we knew the rates were eventually going to drop. And so we're doing a lot of mass texting, but you can go into those channels to be able to get some buyers. Zillow, but Zillow's expensive. I don't really, unless you're Paul over there that does Zillow. Good question. Who else has a question for me or anything piggybacking off what Suzanne asked? Who else? Or a takeaway, something that they took from today? All right, now I'm just gonna have to force people. Now that you have two before we can leave. We gotta have something before we can leave. I said two, but I'll even take one. Somebody give me one takeaway or question before we leave.
I'll take
Mark's got
away
something.
more polls.
More. Yeah. I don't do a lot of polls, but I just talked to my social media team. I was like, we need to do more polls. And go into Chat GPT and ask him, acting as a top buyer agent specialist in the Charlotte area market, what are some good engaging real estate polls I can ask my audience in Instagram? That's a prompt. I definitely would put that out there. Give me 2 or 3 options. Okay. That's a great one, Mark. I felt the same thing on that one too myself. I was like, I'm not doing enough of those. The key thing is all when they respond, you need to make sure that you engage. When you engage with them, don't come out of bad out of hell just like on the first date and be like, would you marry me? They're going to be like, all right, lunatic. Okay. Come up with very non-aggressive, very soft type of things of, how you respond based off of it. One of the things that Tim was saying yesterday is when somebody says something, just kind of like, wow, awesome. How long? Like small, short, you'd be like, well, what do you, huh? That allows a very open-ended engagement back. Well, what do you mean? Wow. Well, I just thought I was like, wow, that's amazing that, you've been looking for 6 months. What made you start looking? See, then you can go deeper into it because you really want to get them you really want to get a conversation going. But if you go and your poll gives you something in reference to, if the rates get below, 6, would you purchase now? Like you want to be like, hey, my name is Brock Zevan. I'm a local real estate agent. Let me get you in touch with Chris, and let's have a meeting tomorrow at 10 o'clock to be able to get your lending all taken care of. Let's go right at it. Like they're gonna be like, oh, put on the brakes. Hold on a second. Okay, but great stuff, Mark. Thank you for that. Anybody else? Jay, if you could put my information into the chat, if anybody has any other questions for me, maybe wants to learn a little bit more about anything on my other coaching events that I do that are free. You want to get to my YouTube channel. If you also want to be part of my Brock Zevan's mindset motivational coaching page as well, where I get real estate coaching. A lot of this stuff is in there too. You can also join our private Facebook group where we can do a little bit more engaging and I don't get in trouble by the Facebook police. You can also check out my stuff on my YouTube channel. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel. So if I can help you in any single way, there's the link below. Love to be able to connect. We also do a mindset show every morning, Monday through Friday, 8:15 to 8:45 Eastern time. You're all are welcome to come in and join us. We have different speakers and guests all across the country. Till then, for those of you at Real, hopefully maybe I will get to meet you in November at Rise in Orlando. For everybody else, have a wonderful day. Looking forward to talking to you and engaging with you. Thank you, Leah. Appreciate it. And that's all I got. All right, all. Have a great one. We'll talk to you all soon. See you in 2 weeks. 10 o'clock. Power Players every 2 weeks. Bye, all. See ya.